What is up, God Gamers? In today's video, I'll be doing a quick guide on how to play the Ezreal Legend. Now, I feel uniquely qualified to make this video because I probably have more games playing Ezreal than any other player because I've been playing Ezreal before he was meta. It fits my playstyle perfectly, and I really enjoy playing him. And to do that, I just want to show you my match history here, and then we're going to go through it and all the good stuff. So this is right when the B patch hit. Right when Draven got nerfed and everything got fixed, we came back to reality. And I was playing while I was on vacation, and I climbed up the Master while on vacation. I just played the last 2 days of my vacation. Been super busy. Felt good to get that load off to climb up the Master real quick. And yeah, so here's my match history right here. We have a second, a first, this seventh. We don't talk about this seventh, fourth, sixth. I've been trying out these old builds that I really like, but it's still not the Invoker patch yet, guys. And then we have a first, third. This fifth place right here was a guaranteed first. I DC'd. Guys, my upload speed when I was playing on this island was less than 1 megabyte per second. So you can imagine. I DC'd on stage 4. Malzahar 3 for free. I had 100 gold level 8. And I fucking DC'd, man. My God. And then we have a fourth here. Another DC. I DC'd this game. I DC'd that game as well. And then we have a first, fourth, first, second, and we climbed up to master. As you can see here, we are master now. And so yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what I did and kind of go through the Ezreal Legend because yeah, I was definitely abusing Ezreal to do that. And let's go through his augments real quick. So how do you play Ezreal? Ezreal is so good now because them giving gold onto Ezreal's augments is so insane. So let's just talk about the first Ezreal augment here, and that is Buried Treasures. As you can see on the tier 1, gain 1 gold. Next 2 rounds, including this one, you gain components. So that is going to be just 2 total components. It's kind of, the language is kind of weird right there. And then, yeah, as you can see here, it just scales up to 3 and to 5, and you get 1 gold each time. So the gold scales up as well. Even though it says 1 gold, it's 2 gold, 3 gold, 5 gold right there. And that gold just feels so nice to hit your early game econ thresholds. That's one reason why it's super good. And the other reason is you get so many items. And the reason why I liked playing Ezreal in the first place, before he was even meta, the problem with Ezreal before was Ornn was too strong and Ezreal wasn't quite strong enough. So there was no point to play Ezreal. That's why he wasn't so good. That's why you're starting this game now. Ornn was nerfed, Ezreal buffed, and the Ezreal buff was really nice. So the reason why I really like Ezreal and what people are using him now is because most comps you want to run a duo carry. If you guys notice TFT nowadays, you hardly ever run a solo carry comp. The only comp I can think of that even like runs solo carry is like Piltover Zeri. But is that even solo carrying? Because you have a big T-Hex doing some damage. So is that even solo carry? And then the other ones is just like a legendary carry comp like Ahri. That's like the only one I can think of that's actually individual carry. So what's so valuable is that you get so many items that you can itemize multiple carries. So, for example, a build that I've been playing a lot, I've been playing Deadeyes. I've been itemizing Akshan and Aphelios, and that has been going really well for me. And I like to flex Akshan plus Aphelios and Akshan plus Azir on this patch. I'll make a video on just Akshan later because he is some tech. So that is why Ezreal is so strong. You hit your econ thresholds early, and you can and you get items to play multiple carries, or you can get like a 3-item tank early on in the game or a 3-item carry. It's just insane. So how do you actually use this? So if you have a strong early game, meaning you have 2 stars, you have an upgraded board, that sort of thing, you want to slam your items very aggressively. Now, some of you are going to be very uncomfortable with this playstyle. I do not recommend this playstyle for everybody, and some of you are probably really struggling on this patch, especially if you're a type of player who always needs to have best in slot items and you like play off of a strict guide. You're going to not have fun playing Ezreal. You're going to have a hard time. Because the key to playing Ezreal is you slam your items, boy. You slam what you think are good items or strong items for your board, because guess what? You're going to get more items, and you're fine. As long as you have some direction in your build, you'll be okay. Now, me personally, I don't care about having direction in my build because I know I'm going to have so many items. I just build what is ever strongest for my board. And I think that's one of the best ways to play Ezreal, especially if you're in a winning position early game. Now, if you're not in a winning position early game, you can just use the gold and the extra components to get very strong items in the meta. For example, if you have an AP board, you can save your items to build like a Shiv Jeweled Gauntlet, right? If you have like an early game AP carry, like you're carrying a Cassiopeia in the early game, and you feel really comfortable like shifting to an Azir or a Lux carry, something like that, then maybe save your items to build some of these stronger items in the meta, like Static Shiv, Jeweled Gauntlet, that sort of thing. And then the opposite would be true if you're playing AD comps. If you really like playing Aphelios and you want to go on that path, then the way that you would need to play it is, you save for your Rageblade, your Deathblade +1, or your Rageblade IE +1, that sort of thing. So that's another way you can play it. And especially if you're not in a strong position, that is definitely a viable way to play it. And I don't just like mindlessly slam my items if I'm not in a winning position. So that's how you want to use this. If you can play aggressive, you want to play aggressive. And you want to just slam the items strongest for your board. But if you're really uncomfortable with that playstyle, but you still feel like you need to play Ezreal because he is very strong within the meta, then maybe just use this augment to hit your early game econ thresholds, and then shift that, and then save up your econ, and then build your best in slot items if you feel like you really have to play that way. But I do not think that's the optimal way to play Ezreal. I think it's more optimal just to slam items that are strong for your board, and strong for your mid game board, that sort of thing. And just I call this I have an item policy that I call shoot first, ask questions later. And a lot of you are just not going to be able to do that. That playstyle is difficult, but that is how I think Ezreal is best played. Shoot first, ask questions later in regards to your item slams. Okay, let's talk about his second augment. And one thing I want to say before we get into his second augment is you don't have to, this isn't like Draven. You don't have to take all 3 of his augments. It's not like that. Sometimes I don't even take his first augment. I think his first augment is so good because it helps you hit your econ thresholds, all the things we just explained. I think his first augment and his second augment are super good. I never take his third augment. I think this augment is trash. I mean, sometimes it can be fine, but like there's just usually better options. So I almost never take his third augment. And when you play Ezreal, you do not have to take his augments. It's not that overpowered. It's just, this is always a good option. That's why Ezreal is so strong. And then especially with the realm Glass Industries, it's so broken. And everyone's running Ezreal. So if you don't run Ezreal and you get on that realm, it's really hard to play the game because you would just fall so far behind. And if you're playing on Glass Industries, guys, you got to just slam your items. Like, throw out anything I said about nuance, about holding your items, that sort of thing. You slam your items on that portal, man. Okay, let's talk about his second augment here. And this second augment is, I love this second augment. So I don't always take it, but I definitely take it if I know I want to roll, or if I don't have a lot of direction with my items. So as I talked about earlier, I just slam the way that I play. I shoot first, ask questions later. I just slam whatever items I think will make my current board strong if I'm in a position to have a strong board. Because a lot of other players, even if they have like a board, their board is starred up and their board is relative strength to mine, like pretty even or even stronger, a lot of players just won't slam their items because they don't know how to play with suboptimal items. A lot of players, just the reality is they only know how to play best in slot. And so you can take an advantage of that by slamming your items for your strong board and then using the second augment to gain components. So I use this a lot whenever I want to roll for a mid-game board, like a stage 3 board, like a 3-cost carry board. And I think 3-cost carries are really good in this patch, like Auction, like Callista. I think they're pretty good to stabilize on. So even if I slam items and don't give me direction, it's fine because I get more components here and I'll find direction here. The only way that you would not find direction if you slammed items that don't necessarily give you direction here, you'd have to absurdly low roll to not like have like an Infinity Edge or a Jeweled Gauntlet or a Static Shiv or something that tells you what type of comp you want to move into late game. I almost never find myself in a scenario where I don't have some direction by the time I take this augment. Okay. And the other thing I really like about this augment is it gives you gold. So after you take this augment, there are 2 ways to play this. One way you can play it is you can use this gold to roll for a 3-cost board on level 6 or go fast 7 and do the same. Like roll for that, roll for your Aphelios, roll for an Aphelios 1, roll for some of the highly contested frontliners, that sort of thing, or just roll for that 3-cost board like I like to do. That is a viable play pattern right there. The other way people like to play this is if you're already in a strong position, you just use this extra gold to just go fast 8, and you just go really fast 8, especially when you hit the early game econ thresholds. You have good items, you have clear direction probably at this point because you have so many items, and you just go fast 8 from here. That's how a lot of people like to play this. And so I think those are the 2 ways to play. Either use this to stabilize, to build a strong board, give you direction, or if you already have direction in a strong board, you just use this extra gold, this extra econ influx, and these extra components to further your direction and go fast 8 to get the more high priority units. And one thing I really like about this is Giant Grab Bag 3, or I guess just Giant Grab Bag, is you get a duplicator. So I especially take this in spots where I'm sitting on an Auction pair or Callista pair, or I'm sitting on a bunch of pairs and I'm like, oh yeah, baby, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna roll 10 gold. I'm gonna hit my entire board and duplicate what I don't hit. This feels so good. And now onto Ezreal's third augment. I don't take this shit. I think this is pretty bad. Like there's almost always something better to get. Now if you have to take this, whatever. But I almost never take this augment. The Ezreal is really all about these first two. So to recap real quick. You want to slam items. If you're in a winning position, slam what is ever strongest for your board, because if you don't get item direction after you do your slams, like let's say you slam like a Sunfire, Spark, Warmogs, like you get full tank items. That is so strong early game, but you don't have a lot of direction, right? You know, maybe you want to play AP because you slammed the Spark, but nah. You just slammed for board strength. Now, let's say you hit an Auction 2. You have no 80 carry items. Maybe you have one sword. Boom, you take this. You're going to find something, man. You're going to find something off this, or PvE rounds, or carousel. You're going to find some type of direction. So that's the way I like to play it. Just play aggressive if you're in a winning position. Now, if you're in a losing position and you really don't know how to play with suboptimal items, then just... you know, hold for your best in slot. Play it kind of like TF, except for you just have more items. You're not going to be able to rotate them, but you're just going to have so many items. You're likely going to hit best in slot for one of the meta carries. And then again, to recap right here, we'll take this augment, especially if we need direction from our items, or especially if we need to roll. But if you're already strong and have good direction, you can just use this to go fast 8, because it's a nice little gold injection, and you get extra components, so you can get components for a duo carry. And our in-game comp, when you play Ezreal, you always want to be running a duo carry. So for example, the carries I like to play in the meta right now, I like to play around Deadeyes and Shurimas. That's just something that I prefer. And so I'll get items for Auction, and then I get my other items, and those go on Aphelios. Or I play Auction. I like to use Auction as like an anchoring point. I'll make a video just on Auction. If I get 80 items and then I get leftover AP items, then I'm going to be playing Shurimas, and I'll play Auction and Azir. But anyways, guys, that is a quick little guide here. Hope this was helpful. Maybe I rambled a little bit. I'm on 2 hours of sleep, and I just drove back home from the beach today, so I'm pretty tired, but I wanted to get this out to you guys. I appreciate you guys, and good luck climbing on the patch. I love you all, and I love TFT.